So the quick topography, you're going to need a couple things. You're going to want to find Manticore height maps. If you just Google it, you'll get to it. And if you see down here, there's a spot for latitude and longitude. If you come to Google Maps, so this is St. Benedict in Switzerland. So if you come up here and you right click, this is that information, and if you just click here, it copies it to the clipboard. So now if I come back here, you can see I've already got that information in here. So there's some important stuff once you do have it. One is you want to make it as small as you can for your project. So you can see if I click zoom in here, it tells me I'm too close, which is a bummer because this is a lot of information. So I'd click generate height map, and I'd pick a folder where I want it to go. So, alright, and so that is a black and white image that tells Rhino all the different heights. But if you want to also have a surface on there that is based on the imagery, the satellite imagery, what you can do is you switch from the topography map here to the world imagery. And now you'll have this, which you can overlay on top. Again, if I zoom way in here, this is centered on our little chapel. I'm going to try something I haven't done with the other one, which is, I don't know if Rhino is going to take an open EXR. Let me check. Alright, I'm going to do both just in case. So I'm going to leave it as 16-bit for now, and I'm going to say generate albedo. And so again, I'm just going to, because I've already done this once as a test, I'm going to make sure I know that this is the separate one I'm doing for the video. And now I'm going to go with a higher res and try it again. Alright, so got my stuff. I'm not going to close this because I need to know a couple things here. I need to know that this is 1.7 kilometers, and I need to do some math and figure out the difference of the tallest and lowest part on here. So I'm going to go ahead, do a little math here. I'm going to round up to 1774 and minus 892. So that's a height difference of 882 meters. And now I'm going to make a new Rhino file. If you already have your existing file for your house, you can temporarily switch it to metric just long enough to get this done and switch back. Just make sure when it asks you, it's going to say large object meters, just make sure you don't let it actually change the image size, but just change the units. Alright, so I've got my new meters. I know it's 1.7 kilometers, so that's 1,700 meters. So I'm going to create a straight line. I'm going to start at my 0, 0. I'm just going to come 1,700 away. And that is massive, right? It's all the way out here. I'm going to hold shift. So that's the downside to this process. It might be fast, but it's way more information than you actually need. So if you're going to do it by hand, that's absolutely fine. Just make sure you do more than is in the drawings, because you need enough context to show, and this one's going to give you more than you actually need. Alright, so I got my line. Now I can just type in height field, and it'll automatically try and find the file. So I'm going to come in here, and this is it. It should be the black and white one. You can see this is the one from Thorn Crown, and this is the one I did originally. So I'm going to say open. And now it needs to know how big it's supposed to be. So that's what our line was for. 882, it's still in there from before, and it should default to 20 by 20, so you'll have to manually adjust this to 50 by 50. Click OK. Doesn't look like much here, but if you come in here, you can see that's a lot, right? So now I can click on it. I can extrude it down quite a bit. And now I can make a cube that's just bigger than it. And you can decide if you want to move it down a little so you can save that, show a little depth at that corner. Now I can do, whoop, no, not Boolean join. I want to do Boolean difference. So I'm subtracting from this with this. Now I've got this thing. And I probably should have done a little more since that back corner, but that's all right. So now I'm going to explode this. I'm going to grab everything that's not the very top. I went a little too high. Again, I went a little too high. I'm going to have to pick a view with the, here we go. This is the one with the smallest bit. And now you can see the top is not selected. I'm going to say join. So now I've got the sides separate from the top, and that will allow me to do two different materials here. So I'm going to come into Render Tools, and I'm going to come into Material. And here I'm going to make two new ones. I'm going to make two physically based ones. This first one, I'm going to crank up the roughness. And I am going to make the color some sort of brown. We'll start with that. Maybe we'll make it a bit darker. There we go. And now making another one. It's going to be another physically based. And this time, I'm actually going to assign a texture. And that's where I'm going to come in, and I'm going to pick this one. Looks like they're both the same. Oh well, it doesn't look like switching did me any good. So I'm going to say OK. And again, I want to do the same thing with my roughness if I didn't already. Alright, I'll have to fix that later. So now I can close this. I've got two new textures. I can click here and I can come into materials and I can pick that dirt. It doesn't show up here, but if I switch to rendered view, now you can see I've got that brown. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to click the top here and I'm going to click down, and this time I'm going to pick this physically based, and we'll see if it actually, I'm going to switch on this one to rendered as well. Let's see if it gave me everything. I don't know that it did. So what I can do, if it doesn't show me everything I want, because in here clearly this covered a lot more area than what I'm seeing, but that's fixable. I can come in here, I can click on this, and I can go texture map, and I could say apply surface mapping. All right, let me try apply planar mapping. There we go. And I'm going to grab the end of this line and just the back corner. And now if you hit enter, you can see the picture changed. And so now I have everything. And if I zoom in, it's really hard to tell, but this little thing right here is that chapel. So I have way more than I want. I could do another void extrusion to get rid of some of it. So the downsides to this are you get more than you want, and it can be hard to find the item after the fact, especially, although think about it, this one's what, 46 feet long? So I think it's the smallest of our chapels, and we can still find it. Not required to do it this way, just trying to make life easier for people who maybe don't like making topography from scratch. If you do make it from scratch, do more than the section cuts show you. They're showing a tiny little fraction of it. I would think, let me find it again. So if it's this, you want, I think the drawings pretty much show you just the immediate surroundings, and you would probably want something, let me just switch to a rectangle here. You would probably want something at least this much if you're doing it by hand. And if you've got this, you know, you can obviously make it bigger. It's up to you. So I hope that helps somebody, even if it's not for this particular project. You might find this useful on future stuff where you've got strange topography, and it works anywhere. All you need to do is find your location on Google Maps, right click, copy your coordinates, paste it in. So just to show you though, before I finish the video, if I wanted to switch this back to feet, I can come to unit settings, I can say feet, I can say feet and inches here, and now when I say OK, it's going to say change unit system and maintain object size. That's what you want, because if you do this change unit system, it's going to take 1 meter, which is 3 feet, and make it 1 foot. So you want to make sure you maintain your size. Click OK. And so now this thing has not shrunk. All right, that's it.